What's up, creative world? For as long as I can remember, I've always been a creative person. I love being creative. And that's why I've always wanted to be an artist, someone who makes a living out of their own ideas. But what I've struggled with is just figuring a way to balance my dreams with a full-time job. How to manage the things that I want to do with the things that I need to do. What I want to do is spend more time in my studio. You see, 2 years ago, I bought this condo. Why? Because of this garage. I knew that by buying that condo, I would be able to renovate this garage and turn it into a studio that I will be able to make art, allowing me a space to have fun with my creativity and make the things that I always imagined. But lately, this has felt less like a studio and more like a storage unit. Because what I have to do, well, that's pay my bills. And I pay my bills with architecture. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't enjoy architecture. I actually love architecture. But what I'm looking for is the ability to have a better balance between my mixed media artwork with home design. And I also want to be able to own it all. I want to do it all for myself under my own business. But most importantly, I want to document it all and share it with you on YouTube. Like this brand new project in Greenwich, Connecticut. Most of the design work I do is through my job. But in December of last year, I was hired to completely redesign this house all on my own. And this is the first time I got a project of this magnitude outside of my regular job. We're gonna be completely redesigning this house inside and out. And last week, we spent an entire day touring the house and measuring every single space. And today, all I wanted to do was take that information and start drawing the existing conditions of this house so I can start doing my design work. But what we have to do is quit the day short and go to my job. And I'm actually very lucky to have this job because I've been able to create a very unique opportunity. I've been working for my boss, Chris, for the past 6 or 7 years. And when I started, I worked for Chris full-time, 5 days a week. And over the years, I've been able to come down to only 3 days a week. And the other 2 days, I get to focus on my own stuff, focus on art, focus on painting. So today is one of those days where I get to work on my own personal projects. Like the project I introduced to you earlier today. That's a project that came to me individually and I'll be developing on my own. However, right now we're on our way to meet a client with Chris. The really cool thing about this project is that the client is actually an artist. She has a pretty big property, and in her property she has a barn that is her studio where she gets to make her art and do her projects. So I'm excited to go to the property for the first time, to meet the client and see what she has to say about the design I put together for her. So this is what we're working with. That's her art barn. I just met her, she's really cool. And this is an existing shed that she has. This is gonna come down. And this is the existing house. There's gonna be an addition there. But the main thing that we're doing is a brand new building that's gonna be here. Now that building is gonna be more like a pool house for them. And it'll also house her husband's recording studio. So she's an artist. The red barn is her art studio. I just met her for the first time and I was super inspired. Kind of put this whole day into perspective. But the meeting was good. She liked our ideas. She liked the direction that we're going. We're making some minor changes and we're gonna keep going forward. I was down, but now I'm up. Yeah. It's all God, this ain't no love. Yeah. I used to be stuck in that mud. Yeah. Yeah, I was down, but now I'm up. All right, it's time for the night shift. This is my pajamas. If half of the challenge is dividing my time between the things I want to do for my dream and the things I need to do for my work and my job. The other half is that even when I get to do things towards my dreams, like my own individual projects, even those need work that isn't fun, work that kind of sucks. This morning, we started with the floor plans. I got measurements that I took from the house. I drew them in AutoCAD. This is the complete floor plan. I also took measurements and drew a section of the house so that we know from floor to floor how tall it is and the slope of the roof. But wait, there's more. Now that we have the exact depiction of the existing house in two-dimensional form, we have to translate it into three-dimensional form. Look at that fancy lady. We're gonna take this information plus all the pictures that we took of the house and create the 3D model of what it looks like. So if I wasn't clear, this isn't necessarily the fun stuff. The fun stuff is playing around with Pinterest, looking at cool pictures, and starting to draw what the house could potentially look like. But before we get to do that, we have to hang out with this girl and draw what the house looks like right now. And because we're short on time, we're probably gonna be doing this all night. We're not finished, but I think we're done for the night. It's Saturday morning, and in the midst of doing all of that work that we need to do, we're gonna make some time for what I want to do, which is a little self-care, going to the gym, getting a little pump. Then we're gonna get back to that grind, see if we can finish that 3D model. It's so cold, and they've been saying we're gonna get a big storm this weekend, so who knows what happens. It is New England after all. This balance, I'm starting to realize that like I do have that balance. Like today, I'm fortunate that I actually get to be at the gym. You know, I can afford to be at the gym. I'm physically capable. I have mobility. I'm young. I have energy. I think it's more about the mentality of being present and realizing that like just because sometimes it sucks, that's not life. Life is a compilation of all those things, not just the bad moments, not just the good moments. You know, it's just being okay with the good, being okay with the bad. So we're expecting this big storm, and the grocery store is just packed. And you can only buy 1 carton of eggs per person. So let's see what happens with this storm. Maybe it'll force me to slow down a little. I know I just came out of the gym, but these are some of the most delicious snacks. We actually have 8 grams of protein, baby. Protein. We're in New England, so anytime there is reports of a big storm, forget about it. You go to the grocery stores and it's like there's an apocalypse. Look at how many people are here today. I mean, granted it's a Sunday, it's a Saturday, but still, this is nuts. finally done. The storm is here, we're covered in snow, we're stuck at home, and I spent the rest of the afternoon yesterday finishing the model. And this is what we have to show for. We have the completed floor plans. This is the existing first floor. This is the existing basement. We took all of this and we created a 3D model of the house, and that is what the house looks like. Not to toot my own horn, but I think it looks pretty good considering this is the picture of the existing house. Side by side, I think that is pretty similar. And then this is what the Google Street View looks like. So I think we achieved our goal. And you know what that means, Creative World? We finally made it through the very boring but necessary parts. We've crossed that chasm of foundational work, and we can finally start designing and doing the fun stuff that we've been waiting for. You see this? You see these? These are the existing plans. It's done. Now we get to transform them into something awesome. And we've actually have already had some early conversations with the clients about what they want. So as of now, the thought is to add an entire second floor and also do an addition off the back here, maybe coming up this way. And the most exciting part about all of this is that my clients want to go in a more modern direction. They really like this modern Tudor style, something like this. And I love it because in New England, most people gravitate towards this more traditional and colonial style architecture. But what I really love is modern. I mean, I could even be more modern than that. So with this project, I'm just so excited. I just can't wait to sink my teeth into it. Look, I'm gonna be completely honest. This week was not fun and I struggled through most of it. But what I'm trying to be more comfortable with is the idea that chasing my dreams and trying to get to where I want to is not gonna look like an Instagram reel. It's not gonna be fun, it's not gonna be crazy all the time. The things I imagined that were in the way of my happiness are actually the things that are gonna allow me to get to where I wanna go. I guess what I'm trying to say is that everyone just tells you to learn to love the journey. And I never knew what that meant. Like honestly, practically, what does that mean? And I think that's exactly what I learned this week. If I want to be standing out on that street, looking at this beautiful home that I designed, I need to focus more on the hard work and enjoying that process right now and being okay with the hard work, because it's going to be more of that than the final product. So in the next week, we're gonna start working on the design. And if you wanna stay up to date, if you wanna see what we come up with, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you're tuning in. One day, we're gonna be standing in front of that house and we're gonna be marveled at how awesome it came out. But if you wanna be part of the process, don't forget to subscribe. I love you, Creative World, and until next time, never stop creating.